You have big dreams of losing weight and creating a healthy, joyful life. But you find yourself craving sugar, caught up in what the scale says, and diet hopping. Dieting is the old way of losing weight. And the good news is I'm going to give you a new way of eating so you can ditch diets for good and build a healthy relationship with real food. My name is Megan Olson, certified nutrition practitioner, creator of Skinny Fitalicious, and your host of the Dish on Diets show. Hello, friends. The most common thing I hear from women over 35 is I eat healthy foods and I'm not losing weight every day. So two specific things I want to explain to you on this topic to give you clarity on why you're not losing weight. Because I hear this so frequently from women that I am going to start emailing this episode to anyone who tells me this so they have clarity on this topic. And I'm sure you're probably struggling with this too. But before we get into the two specific reasons why you're not losing weight despite eating healthy, I want to talk to you about something first. You see, when you want to lose weight, the first thing to do is get clear on the problem. And right away, you're probably thinking, well, I need to lose weight. So the problem is I need to lose weight. No, it's not. Your weight is not the problem. It's a symptom of other problems. Let's think of weight as a headache. The headache is a symptom. The diet is the aspirin. It makes the headache go away. But when the diet wears off, the headache is still there. What I'm getting at is the first problem to solve is not getting the weight off your body. The first most important problem to solve is the underlying cause, which is the weight gaining problem. Whether you're not losing weight or on a diet, you are steadily gaining weight over months and years, whether or not you realize it. Fat gain actually happens very slowly. Most people think it happens in 6 months. It doesn't. Fat gain happens slowly. You are steadily gaining weight. That is the issue. So first thing to do is create awareness of what is causing this steady weight gain. And one example is the chair-to-chair lifestyle. Another is recreational eating. Another is not eating enough protein and fiber, not eating balanced meals. So a lot of women are trying to figure out how to keep their chair-to-chair lifestyle and lose weight. Or they try to figure out how to keep their recreational eating and manage it with a calorie tracker and guilting and shaming themselves and cutting out certain foods that they think are bad. You can't keep playing tricks like this to lose weight. If you have gained weight over time, you have a steady weight gain problem. And the first thing to figure out is what is causing that weight gain? Why is your weight steadily going up? Are you sitting too much and not moving your body? Are your steps below 7,500? If they are, you're sedentary. Are you not eating 3 balanced meals every day? Are you not meeting your protein and fiber requirements most days? Are you demonizing foods that you think are bad and you feel guilty when you eat those foods? These are examples of underlying nutritional and behavioral issues that create weight gain over time. Fixing those problems are what you should be focused on. The weight gain is just simply a byproduct of your lifestyle and behaviors. And I think it's important for you to get clear on the real problem that's causing weight gain versus simply focusing on lowering your weight or getting to a certain number on the scale. Okay? So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about what I tell every woman over 35 who tells me I eat healthy, but I'm not losing weight. Number one, while it is great you're eating healthy foods, that does not mean they are energy free. healthy foods still have energy. And saying you eat healthy foods tells you nothing about how much you are eating over the course of a month, 3 months, 6 months. Energy balance dictates your body mass. Food quality dictates how you feel and your fullness. This seems to be a very huge misunderstanding women over 35 have. They seem to think eating foods that are healthy should automatically result in fat loss. It doesn't. The best way to determine how much you should eat to lose body fat is to audit how you currently eat and take a small deficit from that. Most women I have seen in my 11 years are getting recommended calorie deficits from online calculators or apps where they're tracking their calories. These are notorious for putting people into calorie deficits that are way too steep and extreme. I talk about that in my DIY weight loss workshop. That is in the show notes for you. So you might want to watch that if this is kind of sounding like new news to you. That workshop is going to give you a lot of clarity on things that commonly people just don't really understand or make mistakes on when they're trying to do a calorie deficit. These apps are notorious for people, eating in way too steep of deficits, and then you're hungry all the time, and then you can't be compliant. So you want to make sure that your calorie deficit is reasonable. I never, ever recommend going off of a recommendation off of an app or off of an online calculator. Those things are just not going to be good starting places. You want to be able to eat as much as you can and still lose fat. I know it's a crazy concept. It's kind of the opposite of what you have been taught. But underfueling your body and constantly trying to eat in these steep calorie deficits, you're not going to be able to be compliant with it. You're going to drive yourself crazy. Okay. Also, understand that movement is part of your energy expenditure. So walking more than you do now on a consistent basis, along with adjusting how much you eat, will add to your energy deficit to lose fat. Not only that, you will get stronger, fitter, healthier, have better health outcomes just from walking more and sitting less. And you will also lose body fat. So that's the bonus. But those are the things you have to focus on. So just telling me I eat healthy foods, as a nutritionist, I love it. I love that you're eating healthy foods. I love that you're prioritizing them in your diet. But eating healthy foods tells me nothing about how much are you eating on a consistent basis. Okay. Number two, many women over 35 don't understand how the scale works when it comes to fat loss. I always see women expecting to see the scale go down, and that's not how the scale works in fat loss. This is another thing that I go over in my DIY weight loss workshop. That again is in the show notes for you. So if you want to do that do it yourself workshop, you can go through that. There's 3 videos in that series. But most midlife women, most of you, are lacking muscle mass because as you have aged, you have lost muscle mass and you now have a much higher body fat percentage. This higher body fat percentage often is like 40% or greater with the clients I've worked with. A higher body fat percentage means the scale's going to work a little differently. So let's go over an example. If you have 2 women and both lose weight over 6 months, the first woman who is not paying attention to her protein intake and not doing any form of resistance training, let's say she dropped 15 pounds on the scale. She lost 8 pounds of muscle, 7 pounds of fat. She lost more muscle than fat. Now, the second woman was very mindful of her protein intake and began resistance training, but only lost 7 pounds on the scale. And let's say that woman lost 10 pounds of fat and gained 3 pounds of muscle, but on the scale, she only lost 7 pounds. Which of these 2 women are healthier with better health outcomes? Who has a better metabolism? Person number 2. The person who gained 3 pounds of muscle and lost fat is way better off in every way, from health, physique, the way their body looks is going to be so much healthier, even though the scale only decreased by 7 pounds. This is a really big issue a lot of women run into when they're trying to lose weight because they're just focusing on weight. And you must focus on body composition. As you've gotten older, your body composition has likely gotten worse because you've lost muscle mass. So the scale's just not going to do the things that you expect it to do, not like when you were younger. My client, Robin, and my client Carrie were both on this podcast a while back in episodes 118 and 126. Their scale weights did not change that much in the beginning, but their measurements did. This happens when you have a low muscle mass percentage and a higher body fat percentage. A lot of women get frustrated because they don't see the scale going down. They're like, I'm doing everything right, but I'm not losing weight. Why is the scale not going down? It's because they don't understand this. This is something you must understand. Your body composition is in a different place. When your body fat percentage is high, you can't just focus on just losing weight and the scale because that's not going to improve your health. The focus should be on losing fat, and that may mean the scale may not change the way you think it should. So taking measurements is how you measure whether or not you're losing body fat and tracking scale trends. I talk about that as well in my DIY weight loss workshop, which again is in the show notes for if you want to grab that do it for yourself workshop where I share more details on how fat loss works. Now, if you are a woman who's over 35 going on a weight loss journey, I highly recommend you understand what your body composition looks like right now. A DEXA scan is the most accurate way to measure your body composition. The at-home scales are not accurate. I've talked about this many times before. And typically what I see working with my nutrition clients is like 40 to 50% body fat. So that higher body fat percentage means when you start eating appropriate amount of protein, fueling your body correctly, moving more, starting to do some resistance training, you may not see the scale move for a while because you're gaining 5 pounds of muscle that you desperately need while losing 5 pounds of fat. So -5 plus 5 equals 0 scale change. 0. That doesn't mean you're not changing. That just means that the scale is going to take a while to catch up to what's happening, even if you've got scale weight to lose, okay? Many women will go on a weight loss journey, only look at the scale and assume nothing's happening. And then they feel discouraged and just give up. Again, it's because they fundamentally don't understand this critical piece of information. Now, I have a protein guide in my show notes as well. It's a free guide that you can grab that teaches you how to calculate your specific protein needs. This is always the first thing I work on with clients because women are so under muscled and protein stabilizes blood sugar and keeps you fuller. Most of the women I work with are complaining of hunger, cravings, snackiness. That is from not consuming enough protein and fiber on most days. I have 11 years experience and I've yet to see a client consuming enough protein and fiber most of the time. Now, there are a lot of women I've talked to throughout the years who are consistently attempting to lose weight, who are not carrying that much excess body fat, whose health is not being negatively impacted by excess body fat, and who have been dieting their entire lives and always striving for a goal weight. And this goal weight is very, very difficult to achieve, and they're trying to achieve this for years or decades. If you are in this camp, you probably do not need to be losing weight. You probably need to be focused on nourishing yourself, creating a healthier relationship with food and your body, strength training, building muscle, but not losing weight. I can't tell you how many women think they need to lose weight when really their issue is their relationship with food, and they're constantly trying to restrict and control food and lose weight and control the scale and feel more in control around food. They've been restricting calories basically their entire lives, and they're really struggling mentally, and they're sacrificing a big percentage of joy and happiness from constantly trying to get the scale number to go down. They're sacrificing so much life experience and mental health for a superficial goal weight. Typically, that is not something that is going to make you healthier. Getting to that lower number is all psychological. If you're in that camp, I don't recommend continuing to go down the path of trying to lose weight and reaching this goal number. And rather, I recommend working on nourishing your body and having a good relationship with your body and food, and working on building muscle and strength as you get older. The scale's always just going to do what it's going to do. But if you're in the larger percentage of the population of women who are carrying excess body fat, you're in that 40 to 50% of body fats with your body composition, then the things I discussed today, which are based in evidence and are proven for body fat loss, they are exactly what you need to start working on to make progress towards losing fat and improving your health right now. Now, the reality is, I'm saying all these things today to you, to those of you who always tell me, I eat healthy, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. Okay, first of all, now we've clarified why you're not losing weight. Movement, deficit, we need to know how much you're eating, and also we need to understand what we're doing with measurements in the scale, right? So that's why we're not losing weight, because we're not doing those things that result in fat loss. Okay. But the reality is, you may know those things, but that doesn't result in fat loss, right? Because knowing doesn't equal results. Lack of information is not why women, and honestly, so many people, struggle with doing the things I'm talking about today. These things are boring and basic, but they're not easy to implement in your just real life with the stress and the work and the family and all the other commitments we have in our life. And I spoke about why fat loss is simple but not easy a few episodes ago. If you want to go listen to the nuance of that, I discussed that in more detail in that podcast episode. But a lot of women do know what to do, but they lack clarity, they lack confidence, they lack a clear path. Imagine trying to drive your car from California to New York without a map, without a phone. You're just hoping you're on the right path and hoping you'll get there. But you have no clear path, you have no plan, you have no data to validate you're on the right path. And this is a gap I see for so many women I speak to. There's no data, they're basing everything off of feelings. I feel like I'm doing everything right. Well, that doesn't mean anything when you're trying to go from California to New York, or you're trying to lose body fat. You have to have data, right? So you have no data, you have no plan. And a lot of women are just trying different things, and they feel like, well, these things, I feel like they should be working or they should be good enough, but somehow, some way, they're not working. So the benefit of working with a nutritionist like me is I will help you with a clear, concise plan, along with getting the right data, and that will make you feel confident that you're going in the right direction, and you will get there so much faster having a guide than trying to figure all this out on your own. I've learned this lesson, guys, so many times in my own business. Hiring a business coach has always helped me take my business to the next level so much faster. And sure, I could have figured it out on my own. Of course I could. But it would have taken me twice as long doing it on my own. It's very surprising to me the amount of women who are like, I talked to you 2 years ago, and they're still in the same exact place. I'm like, you could have already been to your goal in half that time, and you're still 2 years later, after talking to me, still telling me you haven't figured it out, and you're still stuck and frustrated and you don't know what to do. Like, at some point you have to either say, like, I'm going to get help, or you just have to be okay with where you are, right? Maybe this isn't a goal that is something you really want to do. You don't have to want to lose weight. Like I said, for people where it's not actually impacting your health, It might not be something you really need to pursue. I've transformed 1,000 women over the last 11 years, and many of those women are on this podcast explaining how helpful it was for them to get the right support and get the right clarity on what they should be doing. And when you get that clarity, you're no longer going to be confused and unsure about what you're doing. You're going to be confident that the direction you're headed in is the right direction. Because when you're confused or unsure of what you're doing, you're not going to be consistent with getting steps and tracking your food and eating your protein or eating in a calorie deficit. All the boring basics are not going to be things you're consistent with, despite you knowing what to do. Behaviors are never consistent when we're not confident about what we're doing or the direction we're headed in. And that is what I see a lot of you are missing. You don't have a plan that gives you that clarity and confidence. And that's what's making it so difficult for you, despite you knowing what you should be doing. So if you're ready to get clarity, have a clear plan, and feel confident about what you're doing so that you can finally get results, I have a special thing for you. You can book a 1-hour fat loss clarity call with me. In that call, I will audit your current nutrition, habits, mindset, and activity, and I will provide you with clear nutritional guidelines and a roadmap for your fat loss, so you know exactly what you need to be focused on, exactly the steps to take that will get you to your goal. This will be the missing link you need to jumpstart your weight loss and give you the confidence and clarity that you're missing. So the link for the 1-hour clarity call is in the show notes for you. I only have a few spots open for that, and once they're filled, they will be gone. But if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, you can still apply for coaching. There's an application in the show notes. You can complete that application. Once I get it, I will reach out to you if I think we're a good fit to work together. Ladies, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.
Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, you have to come check out my free weight loss class. It's the 5 steps to lasting weight loss, how hormones impact weight loss, and the truth about lasting weight loss without relying on willpower, workouts, or deprivation. Click the link in the show notes to watch that free class today. And if you are a woman over 35 with 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, schedule a free weight loss breakthrough session with me after you watch that class, and let's talk about your 20 to 50 or more pound weight loss plan.